Dramatic beginning. So hopefully you guys see me okay. It's been a minute since I've done anything where I've tried to use StreamYards. The only thing StreamYard was really ever acquired by me to do, which was the ability to simultaneously stream to multiple um, services. Like, you can stream once, like at one time, and you'll go to Twitch and YouTube and D Live and all these different places at once. I mean, but what ended up always happening was that people kept on complaining about the quality of the Oswald Spangler. Please. Liturgical questions, we will wait to the 3-hour mark after Vespers for the liturgical questions. But believe you me, the debate will be had. Welcome, Oswald Spangler. So whenever I would try to do going to simultaneously to YouTube and everywhere else, people would complain about, and we would try to figure out what was going on. And it seemed the common denominator always was, it was StreamYard. Somehow it was, strangling or straddling the signal or something. So if it doesn't work, I'm trying to do YouTube and Twitch simultaneously. So if we run into a problem or the visuals suck on YouTube or whatever, let me know. But for what it is worth, I did figure out how to tweet out the link to the Twitch stream as well, so maybe that will generate something. BrOSR versus OSR, No Ma'am and the 30-year nostalgia loop. There's a BrOSR now. Just as we figured out that this is life cycles of folks, 2023, okay? We are moving on. We are going to be approaching, people are going to start getting ready for the anniversary celebrations for the memorial, to memorialize, the passings of like Mark Fisher, right? The guy who told us all, hey guys, and it also said we're on a kind of endless loop to nowhere. I just can't take it anymore. And then just, see you later. We say hello to Pragmagic as well. Keats, how you doing, baby? Shalom, shalom. Exiting the vampire castle. Hey, listen. And it's funny you should say that. Synchronicities and coincidences. 2010 is where I am. My work with the nostalgia loop is I concentrated on I have my magical energy centered in, and I rocked out on 1993, 2003, 2013 for the first 6 months, and the work was done. Primary temple spaces along the meridians have been set up and established. Mark Fisher rolls in his grave every Independence Day. Mark Fisher rolls in his grave every day because the earth, every day, by definition, the earth moves on its axis. One man struggles while another relaxes. Damn. Pragmagic, lost my grandmother and my crow, so not really. You, Oswald? Dang, how do you follow that up, Oswald? Shit, Keith, sorry, man. If I listen, you know me, I'm a wild man, Keith. So I love you so much that I'm gonna try. I will risk looking like this big an asshole to try and bring a smile to a brother's face. Check this out. Lost my grandmother and my crow. If that's not the beginning of a Native American country song, I don't know what is. Huh? Out of love. Hey, come on. Jackass friends bring jackass solutions to your pain party. Huh? With jackass friends, at least you got some friends at your pain party. What you want to do? What you want to do? Hey, want to get high? You want to get fucked up? With jackass friends, no, they really don't get it. It's a pain party. She was a fucking bitch, man. You know what? Fuck bitches. Jackass friends. Well, you got some friends. Fuck your pain party. It's a grandmother, dude. Listen. Hey, it's a show. Look, you know what I mean? Peter Pan Polka. And when they got my grandmother out of the giant crow's mouth, Peter Pan Polka was still playing on the radio. Okay, so you said Peter Pan Polka and it came out of nowhere, and then I went in a different direction. So I'm going to stop right there. And then it takes another turn. She probably killed my crow. She was abusively aloof. So who knows? The crow or the grandmother? Maybe it was murder suicide. Hold on. Everybody stop. Listen. Everybody stop. And we have complicated relationships with her familia. Listen. Hey, hold on. Clearing the space. Hold on. How about one of these? Whoa. BrOSR. You telling me this? Here, the. OSR has outlived its purpose. The OSR has gotten too soft. The time has come for those real players to take the mantle, raise it aloft. No! Things didn't start and end in 1977. And no! Things didn't start and stop with Dave Arneson. 1977 was just the beginning. 1983, don't tell me about Mulvey. Don't tell me just about your Beckme. Everything reaches its absolute maturity. A, D, and D. Real men conquer the sea. A, D, and D. BrOSR for you and me. There's one real way to play. That is what we say. There's one real way to play with dudes across the world today. A, D, and D rules as written. Yeah! That apparently is their deal. I didn't even know about this shit called the BrOSR OSR. There was a guy called RPG Pundit who used to drive me bonkers. He still drives me bonkers. He drives me crazy. He's nuts. The final boss of the internet shitlords. He's got like next to nothing subscribers, whatever. It is what it is. He's got more subscribers than me on this channel, but whatever. It doesn't matter. Everyone's a loser. Oh, that guy that I went after on the last video, that Runkle of the Bailey is his main channel. I thought there was a Runkle of Bailey Canadian gun nut thing was just a thing that he got roped into. No, that's his main gig. So he's a gun rights and criminal defense attorney, which means my analysis of his legal analysis of that bullshit with Magic the Gathering One Ring is even more damning of him. But then again, what do you say about, if a lawyer identifies himself as a criminal defense attorney, I don't know if this is true in Canada. Well, look, you have to take, certain demographic things into consideration. In the United States, if a lawyer says they're a criminal defense attorney, usually, depending on where they reside, and most of their clients are sometimes of a certain color, and end up going to jail. And so they're very sensitive to things like saying things like, it'd be hilarious if someone from Wizards of the Coast went to jail for nothing. That's what I got offended by Mr. Runkle's aloofness at the issue. But if an attorney ever says they are a gun rights attorney and criminal defense attorney, then their clients are, for the most part, Caucasian and rarely ever see the inside of a jail. We say a little genocide, which might explain his aloofness to the issue of why I thought, anyway, it doesn't matter. But his legal analysis was still trash. Anyway, so here's the deal. I had no idea what was going on, but here's what happens. People get excited. They think something's happening in their little neck of the woods. This is what happened in 2023 with this whole WotC dust up with the old OGL. What's going to happen with nothing? And my analysis, and we're going to shoehorn it because we got to keep things small, the less it has to do with the main topic. So it was nothing. Nothing ever happened. Nothing was going to happen. It was no big deal. But people with agendas made it a big deal to try and get your money. But it is what it is. And I'm not a stand for WotC. I don't love WotC. I hate WotC as much as anyone because they're like any corporation. I buy their products because they've got the products to buy, and they make I like Wolverine and April O'Neil and Raphael and the rules of Dungeons and Dragons. So I don't like the company that don't have allegiance to the I have nothing against the people who work there, but I have no allegiance to the corporation or the corporate structure. I don't feel any particular allegiance to capitalism. I don't know what the alternative would be. I'm not super genius of the millennium that thinks that I've got the answer to that question. But, I don't like what capitalism seems to be doing to people, but it is what it is. Never apologize. Or apologize to your grandma. You can do whatever you want to that, that old bag. Well, see, I made it worse on purpose, Keats, so that you're covered. Whenever you're feeling like you said something bad, I'd say, well, hey, you know what I mean? I did something worse, right? And notice I went up, right? So there you go. Here's my invitation of Mark Fisher. In respect, talking about playing Magic the Gathering. We're talking about playing Magic the Gathering today. Here's my invitation of Mark Fisher talking about if Mark Fisher was alive today, him talking about the one-of-one ring. So it's not even like back in even 1998, where you might hear about a card, and I can't do Mark Fisher's accent, so I'm just doing an amalgam of British, Scottish, whatever to do whatever. So it's just I'm trying to aim for the philosophy, and that's what we're trying to do. Well, it wasn't even that you were going to get the Black Lotus or the dual lands. It was the community engaged in the mapping of this territory together that was happening. Whereas today, it is all the corporation telling you, yeah, we've made this thing, and we're going to tell you, we know there's a secondary market, and here it is, and we're going to put it out there as one of one. We've controlled the rarity, and there's nothing more exclusive than a rarity of one of one. And there can really be no doubt that they knew what palette was going on and where that would end up going, or to what company or how many companies, or we'll ever be able to really know when it was pulled. People keep on playing. But it's no longer a game. It's a game that's being played on you. But then again, there's that odd sensation that they know that you're going to remember. And there's an odd sensation that they know that you're going to remember your childhood and your past and your memories of playing Magic the Gathering with your mates. And so when you're walking by and your school-age child says, is that fun to do? You're going to say, yeah. Or you're going to want it to be, yeah. And they're going to make it easier. They're going to put a JR token on it. They're going to say, look, it's Lord of the Rings. And you know Lord of the Rings, you can watch the movie with the kid, and it's got the nice, I think it's happy, but you think it's the nice resolution, the good will win, the hero's journey and all that. It's like a modern religion thing, the closest we have now that we know the God is dead and all that. So yeah, you'll buy it and you'll get involved again, and now your kid's involved. There's gambling, plugged right into your kid and gambling the soda with the caffeine. And scene. That's all I got. And I can't do an accent. But, you know, it is what it is. What would Mark Fisher think of it today? I don't know what his strategy. I don't know enough about Magic the Gathering to know, and I really don't know enough about Mark Fisher to know what his strategy as a player might be or would be. And what D&D typology would be. My D&D analysis might have to be more Deleuze and Guattari. My pronunciation, that's terrible. You're helping, CW, many thanks. There you go. Also, do you know if Mark Fisher was Jewish? Fisher supposedly one of the Jewish names adapted to UK life. Oswald Spangler, it's so funny that you should ask that question because it's germane to the issue at hand. So, Lineage Prospect, you're really asking the question. Oswald, here's the thing. I don't know how much listen, okay, here we go. Troy Williams. I played the game one time. That was a year ago. Brag Magic, be very, very careful. Here we go. It's a serious question. I don't know, and I don't even know if he would know. But I mean, look, because at a certain point, when people change their names, and if people don't share their heritage and don't continue, you know, Judaism is both a religion and a people. So a person's Jewish identity or Jewish heritage is very complex, and whether or not if the only thing that remains of the Jewish identity is a last name and everything else is just sublimated into a British culture, what would remain? What would matter? Do you know what I mean? It's, you know, I don't know what it would matter, but it's funny because the Jewish question matters to a lot of people, and it does matter to people in the BrOSR. It absolutely does, because I'm not a member of the BrOSR. I'm not a member of anything. I think all of this shit indicates that some people really need to know and understand that they are in, when you identify in with when you identify with subcultures of this, when you feel the need to identify with tightly knit subcultures of this granular nature about this kind of subject matter, I think you need to really take a step back. When we think about something like music culture, and we think about kids into music culture, because like I've been into a lot of different sub scenes of music cultures, and I've seen a lot of other people that have been to sub scenes of music cultures. And when I told you that BrOSR it's plain AD&D's first edition rules as written, and there's this guy, what's his name, Jethro Johnson. It's apparently their like kind of guru, and he is most active on Twitter, and he was being interviewed on a couple of things and whatever. And apparently, RPG Pundit believes that Jethro Johnson has said anti-Semitic comments or something, or is basically has made controversial comments, or these guys have had beef. I think the RPG Pundit is extremo. RPG Pundit probably just one of these guys who thinks he's just one of these classical libertarians, or classical humanitarians, like. Sargon of Akkad doesn't think doesn't think there's a problem with Sargon of Akkad politics. A lot of people think that Sargon of Akkad is out of his mind. You know what I mean? It's just one of those things. I can show you that I never found anything. I looked, because how you gonna go through somebody's entire Twitter feed? I couldn't find. I watched RPG Pundit's live stream. RPG Pundit ended up getting himself booted off of Twitter. This whole thing ended up turning into this whole kerfuffle between the BrOSR, which is apparently the subset of the OSR, who only play, like I said, they only play first edition AD&D, rules as written, and there's a whole big thing with their culture of having ongoing campaigns where their characters go to a certain level, and when the characters get to a certain level, the characters at that level are then like at some sort of patron level are giving orders to smaller players, and so the DMs really are referees of these bigger worlds that are just like larger small empires that are interacting with each other, and like that's how immersive that they're getting with it. And to my mind, it's like there used to be this kind of, remember straight edge culture, like go back to me, like youth cultures and music cultures, right? Like straight edge or rave or like goth or punk or rockabilly revival cultures. There are people that get into that shit hardcore. You know what I mean? Like a guy's into, like, I remember back in the 90s, like I remember like 95, like 96, like the people that I knew and hung out with, everyone was into their thing, right? Everyone was into their like niche thing. At that time, like if I rewind to like 1995, that was like one of the hardcore goth. I was hardcore goth. I was playing in bands. My nails were black. My hair was black, streaks of purple, streaks of green, whatever. It was streaks of whatever. Everything was black as shit, black motherfucker. My whole fuck thing, everything was, and I was just listening to goth music, getting down with anything, but hanging out in cemeteries, listening, smoking incense. It was nuts. Everything was goth. It was just, that's what I was doing. I mean, I was hanging out with people that were not goth, but the people that I were hanging out with that were not goth, if they were like rockabilly people, like they were rockabilly out the wazoo. And they were dedicated to that shit, and people were like really hardcore into that shit. But you know what? In 1995, I was 20. You know what I mean? And when I went to, and when I say I was into goth and I was into the musical and stuff, there was music. And you could play bass. I was playing bass. You could play in a band, and you go to shows. And if you were, gay, you get laid with guys. You get laid. There were people, people get all sorts of trouble. You get to adventures with people, and you go, do things. There's art and movies, a whole bunch of things, but real life things. You know what I mean? Oh, Marilyn Manson, that's not good. You get debates about you. But you know what I mean? It was silly, but I just got older, you'd be like, oh, well, you know what I mean? Like at a certain point, I stopped and I went to different scenes, and then I went to rave, and my pants got big. And then at a certain point, it kept on. At a certain point, I looked at myself and was like, you dye the hair, you do this, you do that, the pants get big, the pants get skinny, but, something stays the same. At a certain point, I just stopped. investing in, tribal subcultural reference points of telling people, trying to tell the world that I was awesome and cool. Not saying that I know that there are people today that are my age that still rock it and show it and play, do the thing, and God bless them. You know what I mean? I just at a certain point, I just said, you know what, whatever. But when these guys are like adult guys or like, whatever, these guys are like whatever, and it's like it's about D&D, and you're taking a hard line position, you're investing this much time, energy, and effort into a game for fucking 10-year-olds and 12-year-olds and up. Yeah, absolutely. There is nothing wrong. I mean, I make fun and I joke all the time about, but look, I've got the games, I got the books, you know what I mean? Yeah, you can play Dungeons and Dragons. There's nothing wrong with it. But there are things that there's nothing wrong with, but when you take it to a certain level, yeah, that becomes something wrong. Right? You're in a straight up Mormon community, but you're not Mormon, right? Your brothers know you're not Mormon, but they're still Mormon. And they see you on 4th of July weekend. You never drink, but it's 4th of July weekend. Your friend put a beer in your hand. Here come your brothers. They look at you. Drinking again. Oh, Josiah. Grandma's up there, grow in heaven, giving all the signs of Jesus trying to get you in, and you're just saying no to your own personal pleasure planet where you get the fuck. For what? Bud Light, tranny beer, and a hot dog in your mouth on 4th of July. God damn it. Sorry. Breaking character. Listen. RPG pundit likes Bolsonaro. What the fuck? Also, he had a Freemason pin. What's up with that Freemason pin? None dare call it conspiracy. Except me. What's up with my nose? What's up with my nose? I'm Jewish! There's some people in the BrOSR that are going to absolutely have an issue with that. Absolutely. No, it's not. No, I'm teasing. Well, I'm kind of teasing, but it's hysterical because I'll tell you exactly what happened next. So I go and I watch RPG at this whole, I got kicked off of Twitter. What's the deal? Blah, blah, blah. And then it was this, I don't know, I was trying to follow in the pieces of the puzzle. There was this guy that I think is okay called the Basic Expert that apparently got, in hot water with RPG Pundit because he had interviewed this guy, Jethro Johnson. And I guess Jethro Johnson, who's this guy, am I saying his name right? Let me make sure I'm doing that correctly. Let me do this. This guy, what was hysterical to me. Oh, let me do like this. Hold on. Because I might start doing this. Hold on. I saw. Well, let me do what's up that time. Oof, that's gonna be bad too. Super Spectrum Incorporated says CW Chanter is a body without organs. No, I am not suffering from the same mental disorder that allegedly plagued the original lead singer of Mayhem before he killed himself. Okay. Shadow Zone Productions. I have played D&D with as little as the character sheets and the dice, nothing else. Listen, absolutely. Look, there you go. That's not the right way to play, according to some. So, I watched this RPG Pundits because I was subscribed to the RPG Pundit since back in the day. Because I subscribe to people that I like, and I subscribe to people that drive me bananas. I don't seek to live in an echo chamber. I seek to be exposed to multiple views. Also, I like to know that I'm smarter than people. And I like to have that confirmed every once in a while. So it was on the RPG Pundit's live stream that I learned that the RPG Pundit had been unceremoniously kicked off of Twitter. And in trying to figure out, why, and him going through the story of why, it turned out apparently it's something to do with some ongoing Twitter beef that he had with this individual. Like I said, let me try and confirm this guy's name. Jethro Johnson. No, I'm kidding. Does anyone get that reference point? No, they don't. Should. Jesus would have gotten it. He's got Jesus better things to do. That time. I literally typed in Jethro Jesus. Listen, I cannot. This guy's name? I'm gonna look at the wrong guy. Watch me do this. Or is it James Jethro? What the hell's this guy's name? What is this guy? Now, of course, this guy's name is going to be hiding from me all over the place. Jeffro John. I got it, Jeffro Johnson. Jeffro Johnson. Apparently, this guy wrote a book called. You know how Gary Gygax had Appendix N with the original Dungeon Master's Guide, I guess, that had the listing of all the books that inspired him. This guy wrote an analysis piece looking at all the works that was contained in that, and apparently it's hysterical. I don't know, but I mean, I then saw an interview. I've been listening to a couple of interviews with this guy, Jeffro Johnson. I was basically just trying to figure out what RPG Pundit was talking about with what the guy had said. I mean, unfortunately, I'm not saying that the guy didn't say, look, it's not my agenda to prove that Jeffro Johnson is one thing or another. But it is funny that this stuff is happening, or that a guy like RPG Pundit, who is a supporter of a right-wing fascist like Bolsonaro, and I think I don't know where, I think he's a supporter of a right-wing fascist like Trump. Trump is not fascist, Bolsonaro is not Trump fascist. Fuck your mother. Anyone who wants to engage in political debates with me is welcome to drop me a line, and we can try to figure out to debate. But that he got taken out on Twitter, posted. Remember, Elon Musk was going to save all these guys because his acquisition of Twitter. Well, it's post the acquisition of Twitter by Elon Musk that a guy like RPG Pundit goes down, and then RPG Pundit would go down because of a debate or a fight with allegedly apparently another ultra right wing guy. Not to associate right wing positions with anti-Semitism, as of course, but that should be the way that it goes down. But it makes a lot of sense if people know the sociology of subcultures and the sociology of, well, actually just the history of things like internet blood sports and Gamergate, this stuff makes perfect sense. Because in the lack of a common enemy and in the lack of a central unifying goal, look at ISIS in the Middle East. Shit falls apart. And the snakes, the multi-headed snake, if trapped in a cave with nothing else, no one else to fight or no one else to feed on, will start biting and eating on itself. The OSR always had, at its core, it was a revival of people being nostalgic for their youth. And it was a nostalgia for a youth that existed in an era that played by a different series of rules. Time moves forward. I know that there are people whose position is that things were better then, and things are getting crazy now. And that there are maniacs loose in our society that is trying to change things and make regular, normal people that, absent some outside intervention by people, would just continue to do the same thing that they were doing, and things would just be like it was back in the day, absent people fucking around with things. And that when we look around, people are doing these things in society and culture, and they're changing these movies, and they're doing things to change society. And everyone else is trying to tell you, nobody. You see, the movies are changing because they just want to make money. And they're putting black actors in those places where you think only white actors should be, because they want the fantasy medieval settings to be purchased not just by white people. They want the African American consumers, and they want the Asian American consumers, and they want the consumers overseas to see this show, this product, translated into different languages overseas or in home countries, just in their living room. And they want them to see characters that reflect them. Because just in the same way that you, fat ass loser, just because you're Danish doesn't mean you're a Viking or whatever. You are not a picked warrior, Scottish or Irish fatso. You are a white TTRPG playing incel loser, okay? You suck. White boy, you suck. And that's why you feel this way. About the Chads and the Alphas and whatever. It's your fucking fault that life passed you by. It's not fucking anyone else's fucking fault. Stop it. And they're not putting anything into these books that doesn't belong in these books. They're putting things in these books because they want these books to appeal to everybody. And there's more people here. And there's just more people here. And then with one side of your mouth, you're saying there's no problem, because back in the day, there used to be black people playing the TTRPGs. There used to be other people playing. There were girls playing too. And yeah, we could go to the second edition rule book, and we could point out that it is written like someone from 1932 wrote it, and it was written in 1989. It's insane what that guy Dave Zeb Cook wrote in that shit, whatever. And if you're hearing the going, you're going, it's not insane. You are out of step with mainstream society. And if you're saying to yourself, I'm okay with being out of step with mainstream society, there are a lot of people who agree with you. The Taliban are absolutely, totally copacetic and cool with being out of step with mainstream society. A lot of you all youth people involved in this BrOSR I know are into this whole new fetishization of the Eastern Orthodox Church. Be careful, because the in America, the you got to be careful. The so you got to be careful when it comes to the Orthodox Church. Be not the real Orthodox churches. You are I have no position on them other than you got to be careful of everything. But there are so many unorthodox, orthodox denomination organizations and so-called churches. And it is famous. And there's such a correlation between this new fetishization of Eastern Orthodox faith and the fetishization of Putin and the fetishization of Putin and the saying it's okay what's going on and the lionization. And we get it. But it's so scary because it is so reminiscent of so many past instances of history of regressive reactionary responses to change by some people who just can't get it. So so anyway, so I watched RBG. So it is what it is. So I watched RBG. Then I tried to figure out what the heck was going on. I watched the basic experts interview with this guy Jeffro Johnson, but the guy didn't say anything that I thought was particularly, controversial. I thought the guy's take on the playing of Dungeons and Dragons was so hyper focused that it clearly indicated that he needed to get a life, honestly. But then what ended up happening was I saw this great. Oh, I gotta play it. Hold on. Let me find it. So I looked up. I just went. I was trying to find. I was like, so I went and I did a search for Jeffro Johnson on YouTube. I got to this unreview of Appendix N by this guy called the Real John Wick, and I've seen this guy, the Real John Wick, elsewhere on YouTube. I know he's some sort of hold on. I know he's some sort of game designer. Let me see if I can if you see a little more of his bio before I just play something by him. Or maybe not else. Maybe nothing. Maybe he's just a gamer. I thought he looked familiar or something. But 4,644 subscribers. Let me see. Let me go to this. He did a review of this guy's book, Appendix N, and what I just thought was funny about. Oh, come on, we'll do this. See if I get to the point where he just does this thing. Hold on. Let's see if we can find it. Hold on. I apologize. Yeah. It's always I gotta play. Hold on. Oh no, I got it. Hold on. Okay, so I'm gonna play a huge chunk of this guy. So I'm gonna play a huge chunk of a brother I'm gonna play a huge chunk of a motherfucker. This guy's called the real John Wick. Let me do this. Let me get this guy's. Let me at least do this. Share. Oh no. Hold on. I want to do this. Hold on. Let me see if I can do this guy. I want to do that. Okay. I want to see if I can share the guy's channel. Hold on. Let me do this before I just grab this whole chunk of this guy. And fair use. The purpose of playing the following clip is because whatever else this guy talks about, the guy's about to say something hysterical about this home slice, Jeffro Johnson's book. Because I watched this review last night. I thought it was great. Hold on. Yo. This guy's I'm posting this guy's channel's link in the live chat. You can search for the real John Wick. Fair use. The purpose of playing the following video is to spread the word about the tantalizing review of the Appendix N by Jeffro Johnson via the enlightening acumen of apparently the real John Wick. Hold on. Now I yearn. Present. Share screen. Share tab audio. Oh yeah. Give it to us good. Real John Wick. This is the real John Wick talking about Jeffro Johnson's Appendix N, which ostensibly would just be talking about the books from Gary Gygax's Appendix N and how they influenced Gary Gygax's creation of D&D. But what the real John Wick has been saying up to this point is basically pointing out that this says more about what ends up happening is that Jeffro Johnson ends up saying more about Jeffro Johnson's opinion about things than really about anything else.
The backdrop of Conan's world is thus starkly nihilistic. Conan's god Crom is a gloomy and savage entity that hates weaklings. His only redeeming quality is the fact that he gives men courage and the will and might to kill their enemies. But in spite of Conan's straightforward brutality and simplicity, end note, he shows more than a few traditional virtues. Well, there's an end note there. I wonder what the end note says. So I turn to the end of the chapter, and here's the end note. And verily, I say unto you, except ye be converted and become as little children, ye shall not enter the kingdom of heaven. Matthew 18:3. That's the stunned moment of silence that I had when I realized that you were equating Christian virtues with Conan.
Yeah, let me stop right there. So let's do that. Let's stop right there. Hold on.
8 more times that he equates Conan to Jesus. And
did you hear that? So John Wick just told us that at 8 points, well, that's 9 points at 9 points during his analysis of Gary Gygax's Appendix N, Jeffro Johnson, the leader of BrOSR, aka No Ma'am 2023. I shit you not. It's called BrOSR. Welcome to the fucking TTRPG monastery. He compares Jesus Christ to Conan. These, first of all, hashtag no homo, right? Is there anything gayer than ultra hetero identity politics, right? Is there anything gayer than straight men going straighter than straight, right? That's where it gets it, right? The Father, the Son, the Holy Ghost. We got to get the ladies out of the picture. Congratulations. It's a father and it's a son, grandfather, three-way fuck fest to the golden shower, golden dawn. Aleister Crowley's having the time of his life. What are you doing? This is Sparta. It's okay if it happens once in a while, guys. You know what I mean? Like, what is going on? What is happening? Do you know what I mean? It is insane. The wedgie has gone fucking atomic.
And oh, hey, it's a cat. And that's not the only time. There are
Well, at least somebody's getting some pussy. Boom! Bop!
8 endnotes in the Conan chapter where he equates Conan with Christian whatever.
Nice. 8 times the dude is able. How can you do that? What in the name? And yo, how the.
So, Mr. Johnson, I have a deal. I have a deal to make you. I will keep my politics out of your fantasy and science fiction books if you keep your Christ out of my Conan.
Yeah, because that's okay. So I'm going to stop right there because that's part of the point. Was prior, of course. How much do you want to think was the prior point was Jeffro Johnson having to make, how many times did Jeffro Johnson have to make a point? Rawr! Did he have to make a point in his Appendix N analysis? Because obviously Gary Gygax was very concerned with identity politics and the SJWs back in 1979 when the original Dungeon Masters book came out or whatever. That shit had to happen. That he had to talk about people inserting their politics into games, right? That's what these people are always talking about. These people, the right-wing thought police that thought that when WotC, they were already here. So the OSR was already a hotbed of right-wing, bizarro, nerd alert, freakazoid weirdos. Hanging out, doing nothing on the fringes in various aspects of the internet, while everyone else was having the revival of watching the various aspects of D&D happen in mainstream, whatever. The 5e revolution happens. Apparently, more people are playing Dungeons & Dragons than ever before. That's what, listen, I think there's all sorts of other things we need to take into consideration. The ability to actually correctly ascertain the numbers. The fact that today there are billions of more people in the world than there were back in the day. International sales being calculated and counted differently. All sorts of things. Anyway. So, but still, so apparently people thought that when this whole WotC thing happened, I said, look, when there's nothing going on in big controversy land in the TTRPG space, there's nothing going on. People could say whatever they want to about their dedication to the hobby. Look, it is what it is. There's only so much excitement you're going to generate over talking about task resolution in upper echelon play of Traveler. It's just the way that it goes. It's just what everybody finds. But if you have something that it's got some juice on it, that's got some meat on the bone, well, then all of a sudden people have something to talk about. And if it's a group of people that are socially isolated or don't normally have things to talk about, then they're going to go nuts about it. They're going to go crazy about it. They're going to have a lot of excuses to all of a sudden talk. Like, this shit's a really big deal. When, why are you guys talking like this is a really big deal? And why are you guys talking like you're working on some sort of solution to a problem? Like, can you articulate to me the problem that you're working on the solution to? We're all going to go play different games. And now that's going to solve the problem of what? Generating new players and what do we, I mean, it was just nuts. And I said, people stop and think logically. None of this makes any sense. But maybe that's not the point. But then the WotC controversy dies down. They say, we're not changing the OGL, so don't worry about that. And they say, oh, 5th edition, put in the Creative Commons. And people say, well, that's not good enough. And WotC say nothing, because WotC then just at that point goes on about their business. And so there's all of a sudden these people that were very, very, very excited about talking and having things to talk about. Professor Dungeon Master, and we're leaving the wild, we're doing this, and we're going this way, and DM Lair and the rules lawyers getting people excited. We're all going to leave. You're trying to get other YouTubers to leave and go play Pathfinder 2 for what reasons or whatever. Like, there's a whole bunch of people, like the Pathfinder 2 community can support YouTubers. Like, there's enough Pathfinder 2 people to keep a viable YouTuber community going. Get the fuck out of here. You know anything about the economics of scale? People are not thinking at all. They're just running around a schoolyard playing schoolyard games. But they're adults. So when people are used to seeing excitement and craziness, and then there's no craziness to see. We saw it happen with the internet blood sports people, when all of a sudden then Gamergate goes and fizzles, and Amos Sarkeesian goes away and stops posting and just goes away, and there's no one there to attack. They just go and start attacking each other. So I guess that's what's happening here. TTRPG on TTRPG violence, and people washing their hands of the whole thing. And I don't think this, and I don't think that. And I saw this one guy, Dungeon Master James, defend Jethro Johnson and saying he's not anti-Semitic. And then he went on a rant and he said all sorts of anti-Semitic stuff himself. If you're formerly a Jew, it doesn't matter. Brother Nathaniel. Everybody know Brother Nathaniel? Famous on YouTube. Or at least he was. I don't know if he's still around. Another Orthodox priest, like something. I don't know if he's another. Like I said, you gotta watch out. Who's official? Who's ordained? You know what I mean? Just because the person is wearing like the garment doesn't mean they're an actual, ordained reverend, priest, monk, abbot, or whatever. It is what it is. And it doesn't change the fact that it's not about, if you think that people are getting this excited and this crazy about TTRPG rule sets, you're out of your mind. It has to do with the need for kinship, potlatch, and community. And if you're lacking that, you need to get that. And if you're lacking that, you're not going to get that from an online community. I don't believe so. I've tried. I've been on YouTube since 2015. I've experimented with having real world relationships, and I've experimented with having primarily relationships that are primarily centered around online interactions, and they are distinct and they are different things. And I've had the benefit of having I started my YouTube channel in 2015. So my first real feelings of experiences with relationships that were just exclusively kind of online type relationships, important relationships, but with people that I'd never met in the flesh, but were just online relationships, that was when I was 40. I'd been online, of course, before that. I'd been on the internet and done different things, but as far as, having relationships with people and, you're my homie and we're real tight, that didn't happen. I didn't start really thinking about stuff like that with online people until I was 40. If your only experience with things like that has only been that, you really, really need to think about reprioritizing things in your life, because people online can't help you if you have real life problems, and you're going to encounter real life problems at some point in your life. And I'm sure there's lots of skills that we do pick up in role-playing games. I think that there are some things that we can pick up. We don't necessarily automatically pick up during TTRPG play, but we can, as far as decision-making, problem analysis, group discussion, group interaction, getting other people's needs met, cooperation, compromise, debate, discussion. There are things that we can, as a DM, authority, being just. There are things that we can learn. There are things, managerial skills. There are things that you can learn, don't necessarily automatically learn, but could learn. I'm noticing a trend, Troy Williams. I love you. God bless you, coffee man. But they're of no use to someone who has absolutely no allies, no assists, no resources, no connections with the people around them in their community. Man is a social animal. Though our needs for social interaction, may vary, we have to be honest about our own. If you listen to the lyrics if you read the lyrics to I'm a Rock, I'm an Island by Simon and Garfunkel, it's a lot different than hearing Simon and Garfunkel sing I'm a Rock, I'm an Island. MGTOW may make perfect logical and absolute rational sense for a whole 100% illogical, rational reasons. But if it makes you miserable, or anything makes you miserable, it's not worth doing. I'm not saying that, for anything. It's just that's one particular thing that I think that people need to be aware of. It's one of these things and thoughts that is, one of these complicated things that doesn't apply to everybody that's in this complicated boat of people. But some of them are. And it's understandable. You know, there's a lot of things that occur in this world that cause pain. But if you are this into this game, things have to have balance, and they have to have priority, and those priorities and things have to they have to be balanced against other things. They do. And I just see people that, need to know and understand that it's not normal to be this wrapped up into things. Back in the day, we played role-playing games. We did. There were people there that were into role-playing games with fervent, dedication. But to rally around this shit, like, you know what I mean? Like, I've heard, it's just getting crazy. Like, come on now. Some movements and also it's like, it's like subsets of subsets of subsets. And also it's like when this information being concentrated on Twitter, you need to know and understand that they've said the new rules for Twitter is that inactive information from inactive accounts can be purged, are now going to start being purged. And inactive accounts are being defined as accounts that have been inactive for as little as 30 days. Think of the number of accounts that are on Twitter that are operated by people that could be incarcerated or who have died or have passed away. Think of the number of people that have put up vast amounts of pieces of information. Think of the number of debates that have happened between very kind of famous people that have taken place on Twitter. Yeah, a lot of them have been archived, but a lot of them haven't been. People talk about this dead internet theory, and a lot of it is, there's things that people just fundamentally take for granted regarding, the culture we live in. I'm jumping from place to place, and I'm joking around. But BrOSR versus OSR, let me go to the no, ma'am. We've done for an hour and 10 minutes, the BrOSR versus OSR kind of. So let me do the no, ma'am, and the 30-year nostalgia loop. This is no joke. So everyone who knows this, let me do this. Super Spectrum Incorporated. There's a MAGA zombie army outside. The other half are on that trank. The parasocial is in the flesh, where many of us are physically located. Listen, it is what it is. Speaking of this, I today had the craziest experience. I was behind a car, like this crazy truck. And it was like they had modified their SUV. It had Trump 2024 stickers on, but not stickers. It was like big low decals. It was like Trump on the thing. But they had taken out their back window. I didn't even know this was legal. They had taken out their back window and replaced it with black metal, that metal. It's not like you can't see through it. It's like that. It was just this black piece of metal, and instead on the top of the car, it had a camera, like one of the bubble turret cameras. It was insane. I was like, I was behind them in a light. I was like, Jesus Christ! I'm like, you're ready to go, huh, kid? You're ready to go. But it is what it is. It is what it is. So. The 30-year nostalgia loop, baby, we are on it. No, ma'am, from Married with Children. History. No, ma'am began after it was discovered by Al Bundy and some of his friends that their Thursday night bowling night at Jim's Bowl-A-Rama had been replaced with a women's bowling night. Remember, it's the BrOSR. And that the nudie bar had been turned into a coffee house. Remember how much of this is we want to go back to the chainmail bikinis. And in fact, I played that review of Appendix N by Jeffro Johnson. I played the review by The Real John Wick. The Real John Wick points out that Jeffro Johnson puts forward his position in Appendix N that the Star Wars movies would have been better if Princess Leia had been in the slave girl bikini outfit for all three movies. I don't think he's necessarily wrong to suggest that it would have been okay if she had been in like other outfits for some of the other movies, but I think that Real John Wick is correct to say that it's ridiculous for him to suggest that she should be in the slave bikini outfit for all of the movies, which is what he said. That goes to show you who this Jeffro Johnson is. The guy's a real fucking Cro-Magnon. Listen, it's beautiful. I love it. It's great. But he's also, the guy's got to be a real fucking alpha. Anyway, Jim's Bowlrama had been replaced with a women's bowling night, and the nudie bar had been turned into a coffee house. One of their first actions was to take talk show host Jerry Springer. Now, here's what's crazy. The mask on the show, the No Ma'am episode, Jerry Springer is playing a fictionalized version of himself where he's playing a character called Jerry Springer, the masculine feminist. Now, check this out. This episode aired, the No Ma'am episode aired November 14th, 1993. So it's on the 30-year nostalgia loop. We believe the 10-year nostalgia loop, the 20-year nostalgia loop, the 30-year nostalgia loop, the 25-year nostalgia loop, these loops and their reiterations are what basically define our culture. Kind of, that's if people are new to my channel or whatever. It's the 9th episode of the 8th season. 1998 would be exactly 25 years ago for us, of Married with Children. Also the 166th episode overall, series episode overall. And it was written by Larry Jacobson. It appeared on Fox TV show on November 14th, 1993. The episode revolves around No Ma'am, Al's anti-feminist organization. After women are given their own bowling night in the nudie. Okay, well, let me go back to this one. This synopsis of the organization had to replace with a women's bowling night, and that the nudie bar had been turned into a coffee house. One of their first actions was to take talk show host Jerry Springer, the masculine feminist, hostage. Jerry Springer died in 2023, this year, correct? Right? Ringmaster, the Jerry Springer movie, came out in 1998, exactly 25 years ago, on the 25-year nostalgia loop. I watched Ringmaster and took notes on it, took spells from it, a la my spellcasting method for the SSP, TTT, the Meta, RPG, yeah, it's still a thing. And where did I put those fucking things? Anyway, it's somewhere around here. So anyway, we got to put that in the cut-up generator sometime. Anyway, we'll figure it out. Check this out. Okay. Hostage and issues a series of demands on the air. It was during this time that the group had their first encounter with the club's chief nemesis, Marcy Darcy, who had them arrested for their crimes. After Al loses his parking space due to this is the next episode where there were a major aspect. There was the legend of Ironhead Haynes, who was played by Waylon Jennings. After Al loses his parking space due to insulting a fat woman, the group seeks out Ironhead Haynes for advice. The feat proves useless when Haynes tells Al that there is nothing he can do about changing times, forcing Al to use Haynes' guitar and a bag of flour to create a series of commandments. Jeffro Johnson has a series of commandments, 4 of them, I think. The group promptly burned the commandments, not wanting to burn their issues of Victoria's Secret for warmth. If we go to the Legend of Ironhead Haynes episode, here we go. The Legend of Ironhead Haynes was the 180th overall series episode of Married with Children. And also, check this out, the 23rd episode of season 8. 8 is my magic number. It's the 23rd episode, and we're in 2023. 23 is a magic number. It aired on May 1st, 1994. Almost on the 20-year nostalgia loop. Almost on the 3rd-year nostalgia loop. Oh, but that's 29 years. 9 plus 2 is 11. And 11 is another one of my magic numbers. Synopsis. Beset once more by angry, fat women in the 23rd episode of Season 8, and Marcy's aggressive feminism in particular, Al sets out to rediscover the roots of true manhood. BrOSR. Hiking up a mountain to contact Ironhead Haynes, the last real man he knows of, as the No Ma'am Gang seeks his advice. When another complaint from a fat woman at the shoe store results in Al getting threatened by possibly losing his parking space and being reprimanded not to insult any more fat women, he, Jefferson, and the rest of his men's club, No Ma'am, seek out a legendary guru macho man to seek his advice on how to battle political correctness. Meanwhile, Bud, Kelly, and Peggy steal a full fridge from a funeral and hide it from Al in the garage. Actor, country music singer Waylon Jennings guest stars. This episode is the final appearance of Hill Harper. Okay, here we go. This episode also marks the final appearance of Steve Susskind as Barney, Al's friend since season 1. Remember, the BrOSR OSR debate has ended the relationship and the friendship of several people. Apparently some sort of guy named Diversity in Dungeons, who I don't care about, and RPG Pundit are not talking anymore. Oh no. All sorts of people are not friends anymore. This episode is also the final appearance of Roger, the No Man member who would verbally spar with Al over their wives. He previously appeared in No Ma'am. Chris Collins, a.k.a. Chris Latta, the actor who played Roger, died a little over a month after this episode aired. Oh, okay. Although Officer Dan arrested Al and members of No Ma'am in the episode No Ma'am, he appears to now be a full-fledged member in this episode. Oh, wow. There you go. Okay. Okay, here we go. Cultural references. When Al comes down the mountain with white hair and the 9 Commandments on the 2 pieces of the guitar body, it is a parody of Moses and the 10 Commandments. After looking the paper airplane with Miss January, Al looks on the back and compares Roger's wife to looking like Dick Butkus, a retired NFL player and sports commentator who was a linebacker for the Chicago Bears, from 1965 to 1973. There you go. All right. Everyone can go to heck. No, ma'am. Close that thing. Hold on. Give me a second. I need to blow my nose. The preferred terminology, Juicy J, is the correct word we're looking for here is based. We're looking for the term based, but close. We're in money. My apologies. At least I had the common decency to turn off the camera. That was for your benefit. Oh, my cocaine bears and fondue forks. Ah. Oh, yeah. Oh, that's good, baby. I mean, that woman knows. No boogers, no boogers, no boogers, and no boogers. These are all just wet hairs. Listen, I swear. Okay. Where was I? Oh, yeah, no ma'am. So, no ma'am stands for, in response to protests organized by, here we go. Da, 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 da. Here we go. God damn it. Where is this? The heck, this happens to me all the time. Like I'll read one of these Wikipedia articles, and then I come back, and it's like all the information that I looked up is gone. As described by Al, the initiating rights go as follows: wearing a man in training T-shirt and propeller beanie, purchasing panty shields in broad daylight, attending a Julio concert in wig and matching ensemble, endure viewing a 2-hour video cassette of Dr. Quinn Medicine Woman inside the chamber of the damned, Al's garage bathroom. Nice. Upon successfully completing the initiation rites, the plebe is designated a full-fledged member and given the following rights and benefits: to wear the official No Ma'am t-shirt, to be referred to as brother by fellow members, participate in members-only activities such as chugging beers until one pukes, luxury boxes at WrestleMania, use of a classic Dodge when it is working, a key to the Biggins reading room when the bowl is unclogged. There you go. Nice. I can't even figure out what the heck I had the title for what it stood for. Why can I not find that information now? Oh, the National Organization of Men Against Amazonian Masterhood. It's an anti-feminist group founded by Al Bundy in response to... There you go. Oh, and then Marcy Darcy's organization is FANG, Feminists Against Neanderthal Guys. So there you go. That's it. It's exactly on the 30-year nostalgia loop because the first episode with No Ma'am was in 1993. So there you go. And I've got no viewers on Twitch, so that was a pointless exercise. But do I look okay on YouTube? Because then that means we can keep on protesting on YouTube. This is... We can keep on streaming on both Twitch and YouTube. I've had enough. So, as for me, I try to remind myself, we're here to have fun. We want to engage in conversations. Synthetic Rebellion, how you doing? We want to meet new and interesting people. We want to I get a little kind of perverted statue over here. I apologize. Stay. All right. Oh, yeah. Here we go. Regrets. I've had a few, but then again, too few to mention. And now The curtain falls. Do, 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 do. Da, 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 da. I did it my way. Yeah, fuck your mothers. Woohoo. Come on now. That's what I do. That's what kept me out of a good college. Classic George Carlin line. Okay, folks. Just says I look fine. Fantastic. I am not above making an ass out of myself on the internet. It's what got me this far, which is nowhere. Folks, listen. YouTube is cutting down on ad blockers. There are those who believe that that indicates that the end might be nigh. The end of the free ride. Internet 1.0, Internet 2.0, Internet 2.5, all of these things, blockchain, cryptocurrency, the cloud, maybe not all of these things, but many of these things don't make money. They cost money. And people might say that that's counterintuitive because they say, how could you say that? It doesn't make money. I have stock in Netflix. I have stock in ABC Corp, the owners of Google. And the stock is worth a lot of money. The company's worth a lot of money. How could this central core thing that they provide be losing money? Which is, it's just complicated, but it's true. The promise was always that this one thing one day was going to break even and then was going to turn a profit. But it's not. The reason the Netflix stock is worth money is not because Netflix makes money selling subscriptions. It's because people keep on buying Netflix stock. And everyone watches Netflix. So people believe kind of in Netflix. But the dirty little secret is you can believe in something till the cows come home. If the world's smartest supermodel with double D boobs is actually an idiot, you know what I mean? When she gets on stage and does the first math question, it's gonna, she's gonna look great. Probably. Depending on, what you like. Hey, what'd you think of the world's smartest bikini contestant when she got that math problem? I knew she was a bitch, and I knew she didn't know how to do math. I knew he was going to say that the minute I sat down next to the guy. Stereotypes. Do we need them? Comedians do. I mean, you're not going to get the joke. Do we really need to get jokes like that? The comedians need you to do we really need comedians like that? Do you? Maybe not. I mean, I don't know. You don't need. What do you need? What do you need? Water and food. You don't need water and food. You'll die without them. Well, do you need life? You want life. Do you need it? Right? Everything's a want, right? What's in the absence of knowing and being able to define the meaning of life? What is a need? It's all subjective. When it gets this philosophical, we've lost the plot. Anyway, folks, I love you. I love you. But it may be the case that one day the world may turn around and say to you, hey, I know you love YouTube and Instagram and Facebook and all that stuff. And I really know you loved the concept that there was a magical, fantastic fantasy world that existed where you were going to wake up in a world where work was you turning on a webcam or fucking and farting around or talking about bullshit and shitting on people online or whatever, and that was going to be you and your job or you playing video games online, and that was going to be your job, or you playing role playing games, you're going to be your job. Like Rules Lawyer, like, what is your career trajectory, dude? Like, do you think you're going to be talking about TTRPGs for how many years? Like, what, like, where are we going with this, folks? Like, do people like think like long term about any of this shit? I don't know. But it is what it is. But when you have one group of of this like tiny little OSR thing fighting with another little group of it, you have to say to yourself, if you're telling me that you are between the ages of X and Y, and your life is dedicated to a subculture and community that's got music and culture and art and festivals where real life people get together and exist and party, and there's girls and there's guys and people are getting together and people are having babies, and then that's great and that's wonderful, whatever. But if you're telling me that your thing about that is, and if you're telling me that your thing about that you're dedicated to is like religion or something that you really, really, really believe in, even if it's something that I think is insane, like if it's something that you really believed in, I would like be able to understand it. But if you're telling me honestly that you're dedicated at this point, at this level, to like a fucking game or methodology of way of playing that game, like this kind of game, like a game that's not chess or Go, but like this, because these rules are not pristine. You're out of your fucking mind. There's something fucking wrong. There are times when people will judge you for playing TTRPGs where they're out of line and they're wrong. But there were times when people came around the table to judge people playing TTRPGs and they were right on the fucking money. I've been to conventions and I've been to Comic-Con. Some people have problems, right? Keeping it together and playing, by the rules of, keeping it together. But it is what it is. But it's a sad fucking joke. And there's some things that I'm just like, it's just like beyond plain fucking sad. Like, please, like, if you have never fucking killed a man, if you have never fucking offed the dude, I don't give a shit that you have a fucking Germanic last name or you get your fucking a Swiss last name or a Norwegian last name or whatever. If you've never fucking seen action, if you've never fucking came up on a person, if you've never fucking fought a person, don't fucking talk about the Vikings or the swords. Oh, the Saxons did this, or I'll tell you about or the Saxon will do this. Just stop fucking talking about men doing men shit. Like I'm not the guy. I'm not gonna kick anybody's ass either. But I don't talk like shit like that. And I don't say that to like put you down. I say that to fucking like, because you're fucking playing a fantasy. But what you don't understand is you guys are doing this shit. Like you're having like I could play you. I watched a YouTube live stream with this guy, Dungeon Master James, and like I might set up a thing where I just might set up cam on Dungeon Master James and just make fun of that douchebag for fucking day after day. I don't think that guy realizes that I could fucking like he's like once like these people don't realize how many of these guys are basically like 1 or 2 steps over like King Cobra JFS. And they're out there like live on the internet and they're talking and their shit is just out there. They're just saying the craziest stuff. Saying stuff and I'm like, was that a threat of violence? Are you saying that there could be a revolution? Are you saying that you're going to pick up arms? The fuck did you just say? Like, it's just nuts. The things that people say and do. It's ridiculous. And they're jokes. It's like the super soldiers from conspiracy theory land. The most ineffective guys are the ones out here talking the hardest. What are you going to do? These SJW woke people are going to... What are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about all the black guys sleeping with white women? What are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about it? You know what I mean? Like, what the fuck are you guys going to do about it? You know what I mean? Like, the fuck are you going to do? What are you doing right now? You know what I mean? It's just like, you know what I mean? Sitting on your ass complaining. You know what I mean? Can't walk around San Bernardino anymore. Pick up some garbage. What, do something with your life. You be part of the solution. You got time on your hands. You got time to D&D. You got time to mentor and clean up the streets, right? Genocide. I get it. I like to say I'm a Celtic Viking, and I've brawled before. You get a pass. Jason Albert, CW, I need a Tom Waits song about your anguish right now. Not that anguished. Or go back to talking music, when you were fun. Jason? I don't do requests. Sorry to disappoint you. Sorry to let you down, bro. Sorry I'm not fun on a Friday night for you, honey. But you do me a favor? Jason. Still love you, CW. There you go. From super soldiers to super nerds, CW versus the Great Goof, new audiobook on Audible. There you go. I like it. So the next thing I'm going to do, I'm not going to spoil it actually, though. I'm not going to spoil it. Anyway, 2003, The Egyptian Tarot for Thee. And we'll end on that. Jesus J, giving love to J. We love you, Jason Albert. We love you. I love you too. You render an opinion. That's okay. Look, people like just because I don't take requests doesn't mean you can't make them. And you know what? I say I don't take requests, but there have been plenty of times that I have taken requests. So you make a request, I don't like it. It is what it is. I get 2 cards jumping out at me. I've seen a lot of wands in this deck. There you go. Okay, I see it. So for me, I'm reading this from this card to this card, and so this is a very, very, very masculine type of card. So this is the Knight of Wands, or like the air of fire. So those are two very masculine energies coming together. So this is, as a person, this is a driven seeker. And we can feel this as a masculine energy because we are talking about this BrOSR versus OSR. This is about masculine conflicts, but I think this is also about quests. Why do we game? Why do we play? Because we see there's this kind of raw alchemical process that's happening, this raw refinement that's happening. But remember, some of these alchemical experiments end in the oven blowing, or end in the filament burning out. When there's too much energy, too much masculine fire energy, too much air, it can burn out of control and it can burn out. You have to know where you're going, but you also have to know if you travel endlessly in one straight line, eventually you will end up somewhere. But you will burn out. It's inevitable. But the next card that I got is very interesting. We've got the Ten of Cups. This is a very feminine card. The 10 energy is the energy of completion. We've come full circle. And these cups, this is the suit of cups is, confused, I'm looking in the mirror. The cups are the suit of emotion, the suit of feelings, that feminine energy. And you see, we have a very receptive feminine energy of the cups as they're depicted in this card. This these womb-like chalices, these bowls. And this 10, this coming to completion. It's like this is where the quest is heading. But the fire, I think, becomes extinguished here. But we also see what is, I think, driving the quest. It's emotion. There's a desire. And when the desire is not fulfilled, it turns to frustration and anger. The Knight of Wands, in order to not burn out, has to integrate to arrive at the Ten of Cups, to see himself reflected in the other, so that the horse may drink, so that he may drink, and so that he may meet whoever may be on the other side. When we say crypto bro, we have the bro, but it comes on the back end. It modifies crypto, but on the back end. He's a crypto bro, but that doesn't mean you can't have a crypto Betty or a crypto babe or a crypto gal, crypto crunk. What did he say? But when you call something the BrOSR, the OSR is essentially modifying bro. And what you've established at the outset is what is defining it is brotherhood and masculinity and this guy culture thing. And you guys aren't the first guys to do it. And if you think that we kind of on this nebulous community around you don't know and understand and see in the larger context that you are part and parcel of, yeah, MAGA, and that not everyone is part of everything, but so many people are interconnected. But with MGTOW and MAGA and incel, there's all sorts of stuff that's all interlaced, and not everything is interconnected, and some stuff is offensive to some people, and and you get into philosophical debates and all that bullshit, and no true Scotsman, and remember Richard Spencer. I understand that Richard Spencer's had some sort of other change of heart now, but that's the height of Richard Spencer being Richard Spencer. He was saying things like, "I'm not all right," you know what I mean? Like, whatever. So no one ever says, "Oh yeah, I'm anti-Semitic." Well, some people do, but very rarely do they do. Oftentimes everyone will deny. Well, I have no reason why I'm on the poverty law center's list of hate crime people. You know what I mean? That's ridiculous. And then you see the laundry list of things that they said and did, and you say, "Oh, well, no, I understand perfectly why they're on that list. How the hell did they think that they shouldn't have been on that list? Why weren't they just forthright and honest? Oh, I don't like Jewish people. I don't like this, that." There are people who have fundamental differences of opinion about things, but no one understands that some of your fundamental differences about things with the people around you, if you think that everyone agrees with you, but everyone keeps on telling you that they don't agree with you, except this little tight group of people, you might be being fucked with, and you really might be on the outs. I'm telling you, folks, Fox News has lied to you. Okay, Tucker Carlson he's a fucking racist. He's a white supremacist. He's a racist. Kanye West is insane. The Jews didn't do what you found. The hell are you talking about? And you're nuts. And you're racist. A lot of you. And life's not fair. And, nothing works out right for everybody. And it just is the way it is. You know what I mean? And maybe don't play so many TTRPGs. Maybe don't pay so much attention to politics if politics is driving you crazy. Chant every day, read a spiritual text every day, work out some shit. You know what I mean? But if your life is defined by your subcultural connections are defined by TTRPGs at this point in 2023, I'm telling you folks, listen, it is what it is. I'm on this thing on a nostalgia trip to the back end of later days. You know what I mean? If you think that this is like a real growth industry, all this shit is headed to. Oh shit, I gotta keep it on that. All this stuff is headed for online interdimensional cable controlled by mega corporations. Kind of, apparently, it's just the way it is, babies. But I love you. Find somebody to love in the real world. Okay? Start some fights. But let them end in love. I love you, I love you, I love you. If nobody told you I loved you today, somebody just did. That's somebody CW Chanter. We say hello to David Bucky. We say hello to Troy Williams. Jonaside, everyone else, Juice J. Everyone else I didn't say hello to, Super Spectrum Incorporated. Anyone I didn't say hello to directly, Synthetic Rebellion. Anyone I didn't say hello to directly, I apologize. Shadow Zone, I got you all. Love you. Love you, love you. You good.